Question 1. Divide inflation and elaborate on the different types of inflation. Today, I want to talk about something that affects all of us, inflation, whether we're buying groceries, paying bills, or filling up our cars with food. We all notice how prices keep rising, but what exactly is inflation and why does it happen? Inflation is the steady increase in the general price level of goods and services over time. As prices go up, the purchasing power of money decreases, meaning we need more money to buy the same thing. High inflation raises the cost of living, making it harder for people to maintain their standard of living. It can be caused by several factors such as an increase in the money supply, higher production costs, or rising demand for goods and services. If inflation gets too high, it can slow down economic growth, reduce investment, and increase interest rates. There are four major types of inflation that we should understand. First, demand pull inflation. This happens when demand for goods and services exceeds supply, when consumers spend more whether due to high incomes, government spending for easy access to credit, business struggle to keep up, causing price to rise. For example, during a shopping sale, if many people rush to buy the latest phone, prices may increase due to high demand. Second, cost push inflation. This occurs when production costs rise. If wages increase or the price of raw material and energy go up, business have to spend more to produce goods to stay profitable. They pass this cost on to consumers by rising prices. For instance, if food prices rise, transportation costs go up, making everyday goods more expensive. Third, hyperinflation. This is the most extreme and dangerous form of inflation, where prices rise at the uncontrollable rate. It usually happens when people lose trust in the country currency, often due excessive money printing. A well-known example is Zimbabwe in the 2000, where prices doubled almost daily, making money practically worthless. Lastly, built-in inflation. This occurs when workers demand higher wages to keep up with rising living costs. Businesses raise prices to cover their higher wage expenses, which in turn lead to workers asking for even more pay. This cycle keeps repeating, continuously pushing prices up. Inflation is a natural part of the economy, but when it gets too high, it creates challenge for business, consumers, and the government. By understanding its cause and effect, we can make better financial decisions and adapt to economic changes wisely. I would like to discuss a critical issue that affects all of us, inflation in Malaysia. We have all felt the impact of rising prices, whether at the grocery store, the petrol station, or when paying for daily necessities. Inflation occurs when the general price level of goods and services increase over time, reducing the purchasing power of our money. But what exactly is causing inflation in Malaysia? There are several key factors that contribute to this economic challenge, and I will go through them one by one. Number 1. Global commodity prices. One of the biggest contributors to inflation in Malaysia is the rise in global commodity prices. Malaysia relies heavily on international trade to import essential goods such as food, fuel, and raw material. Number two, government policies on subsidies and tax. Another significant factor influencing inflation in Malaysia is government policies related to subsidies and taxation. Over the year, Malaysia has gradually moved toward a target subsidy system, particularly on essential items like food. The recent shift to target subsidies for RRN 95 petrol and diesel has led to price increase, particularly for diesel, which saw the rise of 20.1% since diesel is widely used for transportation, logistics, and industry. This increase has affected the overall cost of goods and services. Weaker global demand, while inflation is primarily associated with rising prices, it is also influenced by the overall state of the global economy. A weaker global demand for goods and services has played a role in shaping Malaysia's inflation trend. When major economies such as China, the United States, and the European Union experience slow growth, their demand for Malaysian exports such as palm oil, electronic, and rubber declines. This lower demand has driven excessive inflation because businesses are unable to raise prices too aggressively when this is weaker consumer spending. However, while weaker global demand helps ease inflationary pressure to some extent, it also presents challenges. Number 4, government policies adjustment. To counter the effect of inflation, the Malaysian government has implemented various policies to control price increase and ease the burden on consumers. One of the most important strategies is the introduction of targeted subsidies, which are meant to help specific groups of people who are most affected by rising prices. Number 5, domestic factor. Aside from external influences and policy decisions, domestic economic conditions also play a role in inflation. While some prices continue to rise, certain categories of goods and services have experienced only moderate inflation. For instance, vehicle insurance has only increased by 0.9.8% and food and beverages have risen by 1.6%. This figure indicate an inflation is not uniform across a sector and some areas remain relatively stable.
Hello and Assalamualaikum. My part is question number 3. How inflation affect individual, society, welfare and standard of living in Malaysia. So today I will talk about how inflation affect individual, society, welfare and our standard of living in Malaysia. Inflation happens when price of goods and service rise over time, reducing the value of money. This impacts everyone from individual to entire economy. Number one, impact on individual. First, inflation directly affect individual by making daily necessity more expensive. When price rise, people can buy less with the same amount of money. For example, food price in Malaysia have increased by 1.6%. This may seem small, but for low income family, it's mean spending more than essential like rice, vegetable, and cooking oil. When people have to spend more on food, they have less money for other important needs like education and healthcare. Number two, impact on society welfare. Inflation affects society as a whole by increasing by the cost of living. One major example is the rise in fuel price. Diesel price went up by 20.1%, which makes transportation more expensive. When transport costs rise, business spend more to deliver goods, leading to a higher price for consumer. This affects everyone, especially those who rely on public transport or need to travel for work. It also pressure on business as they struggle to manage higher costs while keeping price affordable for customers. Number three, impact on standard of living. Inflation affect our standard of living by reducing saving and increasing financial. When prices go up, people have to spend more on daily expenses, leaving them with less money to save. This is especially difficult for middle and lower income family. Additional, the expense of the sale service tax increase the cost of goods, making life even more expensive. However, the government has introduced measures like targeted subsidy to help lower income groups. So my conclusion of question 3, inflation effect of all us different ways it makes life harder for individual, increase costs for society, and puts financial pressure on families. While inflation is natural part of the economy, it is more important for government and business to find ways to manage its impact. As individuals, we can also take a step like a budget and saving wisely to protect ourselves from rising costs. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, so for my part is question 4, which is with supporting data, explain the policy measures the government agencies that could be effective in controlling rising inflation in Malaysia based on the article. Okay, so now I want to tell you, inflation is a challenge that affects all of us, our families, our businesses, and our daily life. The government understands the concern of the people and is taking firm steps to keep prices under control while ensuring that the cost of living remains manageable. First, we are implementing targeted fuel subsidies. Instead of providing fuel subsidies to everyone, we are directing assistance to those who need it most. This approach helps us manage government spending efficiently while keeping fuel prices stable for essential users. Second, we are making adjustments to the sales and service tax, which is SST. By expanding SST coverage, we can generate more revenue to support economic programs without putting too much pressure on essential goods. This ensures that we continue to fund important initiatives without causing a sharp rise in prices. Third, we are keeping business costs in check. The government is enforcing rules to prevent unfair price increases by businesses. Through strict monitoring and fair pricing regulation, we can prevent unnecessary price hikes and keep inflation under control. Fourth, we are raising the minimum wage to help people afford daily necessities. While higher wages can sometimes lead to inflation, past wage adjustments in Malaysia have shown only a small impact on overall prices. This means we can support workers without significantly increasing inflationary pressures. So for the lastly, we are closely monitoring global prices. As a trading nation, Malaysia is affected by global oil and food prices. The government is staying vigilant, tracking international trends and responding quickly to any external economic shifts to protect our economy. In conclusion, we are using a balanced approach, targeted subsidies, fair taxation, price monitoring, wage adjustment, and global awareness to manage inflation effectively. Our goal is clear: to protect the people, support businesses, and keep our company strong. So, for the conclusion for all of this is inflation affects us all, making daily essential more expensive. In Malaysia, it's influenced by global prices and government policies. To ease the burden, the government is providing subsidies, adjusting taxes, and keeping prices in check. This effort aims to make life more affordable and ensure a stable economy for everyone. That's all from me. Thank you.
Right now.